My name is Carl White, here located here in the secret headquarters of the Marketing Animals slash Freedom Club, and I've got on a call with me a very dear friend of mine, Eddie Fooshang, loan officer out of Austin, Texas. Eddie, it's great to have you here, brother.
Dude, I am super freaking excited to be with you and everybody that's with us today.
Cool. Well, dude, so here's what we're going to talk about today. So this time of year, we see people setting up goals, right? And I guess that really happens all during the year, but we see a lot of it this time of year. People setting up goals, and they set up goals last year, and you and I both know some people make them, but not many people achieve, quote, their goal. And I just want to go on the line. Dude, it's not your fault when the goals don't happen. There was no plan, right? Nobody told you, oh, by the way, if you want to, I want to double my business, common goal, excellent goal, nothing wrong with that. You have to have a plan though, right? So it's one thing to set a goal. It's another thing to do a plan. And you and I were talking about this very same thing. You told me what your goal was. And I said, well, let me see your plan. You got back with me a couple of days later. You showed me a step-by-step plan of how you're going to achieve that goal and why you picked that goal. And I said, man, this is way too good. We have got to share this with everybody.
Right.
So that's what we're doing here today.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Let's do it.
So, Eddie, I think everybody, I think most people that's watching this day know who you are. You've become quite famous in a short period of time because you're just an awesome dude. But you got into business about 2 years ago. Right. And last year at this time, how many loans were you closing last year at this time? So which would have been 1 year in the business, give or take?
5.
Okay, about 5 a month, five per month. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then this year, fast forward 12 months, what are you closing a month now? Like this month that we're in here, what are you going to close?
I believe it's going to be 11.
And you told me before we started this that you have like 14 contracts you're working on, and 11 of them should close.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. For that time, it's 14 that I have actively working right now, and probably 11 out of those 14 will close
this month.
A couple of them will basically end up following to the following.
So, dude, going from 5 your first year to now here it is on your second year, to go from 5 to 11 is remarkable, right? So number one, kudos for you, and we're going to map out how you did that. And I get it. Some people on the call would go, gee, 11 closing per month might not be that. Some are going to go, holy cow, that's a lot, because it's way more than average, by the way, especially for 2 years in the business. And some would go, no big deal. I closed 40 last month. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Great for that. They've been rowing the boat longer than what you have.
Right.
But how many of them doubled in the last 12 months? That's the whole point of this. So it doesn't matter what your numbers are, whether you're closing 3 or 33, it's the doubling of it and having a plan to put that in place, not just goals. And we were just talking about how so many people don't achieve their goals, and we wanted to map out, it's because you didn't have a plan. So we're going to map out, Eddie, what your plan was or is this year, how you came upon the goals to work that plan. And so everybody can watch this today and swipe it, take it back to their shop, and apply it to their business as they see fit. Sound like a good plan?
Sounds like a good plan. And I would like to add, I could not believe how great of a salesman you are and a closer to convince me to share my whole plan to the rest of the world. So,
dude, you're just giving
no pressure at all.
People ask about that sometimes, and I always think of it, it's like, dude, it's like lighting candles. Some people think, well, if I give the fire for my candle and light yours, I don't have less light. Now we have we have more.
That's right.
And so by sharing, we don't have less, we have more. And that's just the philosophy of our group. And Eddie, in a very short period of time, has become one of the leaders in our Freedom Club. And it's because you have that mentality. So I appreciate you being here, brother.
Thank you.
So, all right, let's start with the goal first. So I saw this goal, which we're showing here, your plan. And by the way, this is very private and kind of personal stuff, and we appreciate you sharing this. Your goal here was to help 188 families become homeowners. Dude, where'd you get that number from?
So this number, Carl, began when I was doing my 2018 business plan with Richard Smith. Richard Smith is my branch manager / my coach, and a dear friend of mine. I would consider him my brother. And we're sitting down and we're basically going over the goals for 2018. And he asked me, what is your goal for next year? And I told him 100 loans that I want to close next year. So he stared me down. And I did not realize really what he was thinking. I was probably, the thought that came to my mind was he's probably very unhappy with that number. Maybe he wanted me to give him a higher number, right? But really, that was not the case. He was just basically waiting for me to follow up with the 100 and tell him why. But I didn't. So he asked me why 100? And he was very serious about it. And it made me feel uncomfortable. So I just didn't know what to say. So I basically told him, what do you mean? What do you mean why 100? I mean, that's my goal. You asked me for my goal. Here's my goal. My goal is to close 100 loans. So he asked me again, why? And he kept going back and forth with me probably 6-7 times until I started to get a little irritated and annoyed at this conversation we're having, until the very end he basically realized that I was getting agitated a little bit, and he told me, listen, I'm asking you why 100? Why not 125? Why not 150?
Why not
75?
Yeah.
Right? What was the reason behind you coming up with that 100 number? There's got to be a reason. What's the reason? And Carl, I froze. I really did not know what to say. And
so basically what you had done when you did the 100, which most people do, by the way, again, it's not your fault, is you did what we call the rectal extraction method.
That's
just
exactly
kind of pull the number out of your butt, right? I mean, that's just being honest. There was no reason for it.
Yeah.
Which when you just kind of pull out of the air, pull out of your butt, so to speak, when you have no reason why you're going to hit that number, that's why that's why they don't have a plan.
Right.
And that's why most of the time the goal doesn't work, because you didn't know why you picked the number in the first place.
That's right.
Let's go over why you picked that number. So there was and we're showing that what you sent over to me. By the way, this is very informal what we're doing here today. We're just literally showing what he sent to me. So we didn't put this together for this webinar that we're doing today. This is what you sent me over, and we were going to go over as your plan.
That's right.
So when you picked 188 families or 188 loans that you wanted to close.
Well, let's back it up a minute, because that 188 did not come out until I was forced to do certain things that Richard asked me to do. So he basically asked me to give a description of how this next 12 months would be an absolutely the best year of my life, right? Like, what would have to happen? What are the things that would have to happen in the next 12 months for me to consider that this year is the best year of my life?
Like, right? A dream year. What does your dream year look like?
Exactly. So I remember he gave me a notepad and a pen, and I think he gave me a couple of hours. And I looked at him like, you crazy, a couple of hours. But I mean, he was very, very specific about it. So anyway, so I went and I made a list of everything that I could think of that would make this coming year the best year of my life, right? So I ended up making the list.
All right, and that's what we're looking at here. So let's just, and again, we're showing this to you guys. This is very private that Eddie's showing here. So we appreciate you doing this, Eddie. And we're doing this so for you to get your creative juices going, for you to come up with your number. Because then once you have your goal, we're going to talk about toward the end here, like we're gonna how do you put out a plan to hit those goals, whatever they are.
Right.
So let's go over your numbers of I need to close 188 loans because, and let's go over your list real quick again.
So when I made the list, he basically asked me to monetize it, put a dollar amount next to each one of those items. And some of the stuff I obviously did not know how much it was going to cost. So that's the reason why it took 2 hours, because I had to do some homework, pick up the phone and make some calls to get some ideas, go online to do some research and stuff. So anyway, after I put a dollar amount next to each one of those items, and then I added everything up, and it came out to $300,000.
All right. So, and just to go over the list here a little bit, and I know we're looking at it, it's like you wanted to send your daughter is getting ready to start college, and that's going to be like $40,000 a year, paying off like your car loans and miscellaneous stuff, about $50,000. Cost of bringing your parents over here. Your parents live in Egypt.
That's right.
And you said, hey, I want to fly them over here. That would be a perfect year for me. That was $5,000. Kitchen for your wife, $12,000. Your first car for your daughter, $10,000. Take the family on a vacation to New York, $6,000. First of all, when I saw this, You ever been to New York, by the way?
No.
Yeah, we're going to want to put a couple numbers in front of that 6. So just FYI. But that's the whole idea behind doing this, is to come up with some numbers.
Yep.
Living expenses. So when you did this, this is like providing for my family, providing vacations, mapping out how many vacations, where are we going, living expenses, which would be electric bill, water bill, mortgage payment, gas for the car. In your case, looking to buy investment property, saving money in your what we call the freedom account, which is your personal savings account. That's not like car savings or down payment savings for home. That's like a freedom account for like, I don't have to work anymore account. Right. So
Right.
putting money in your 401k, and you came up with, when you did all this, you came up with 300,000.
That's correct. Yes.
All right.
And that was the net, right? So this is after the tax has already been paid. So what I needed to do is I needed to add the tax factor in here, and I'm obviously being very, very conservative with the tax. It's probably going to be a lot lower than that, but just to always assume the worst case scenario. So when I added the taxes back in, so I needed to make $500,000 gross income in the next 12 months in order for me to have the best year of my life.
All right. So again, just what you're doing here is reverse engineering.
Right.
You went, all right, before I say what my goal is for this year,
Mm-hmm.
before I even develop a plan, because a plan for closing 100 loans is different than a plan for 300 loans.
That's right.
You had to come up with an exact number. What you found out that when you told Richard originally, hey, I want to close 100 loans, sounds like a good lofty goal, especially, dude's second year in the business, that's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess what would be the third year now. So the
That's
third
right.
year in the business, again, an impressive number. What if it's not enough? Like in your case, you found out when you did this,
I was 88 units short.
it was short. So here's the problem, everybody, as you're watching this today, is like, what would have happened, Eddie, had you not done this exercise? Is my suspicion is you may or may not have made your 100 loans, because maybe you'd done a plan, maybe you wouldn't have. Maybe it was just this fist pumping, rah, I'm going to close 100 loans kind of thing with no real reason why.
Mm-hmm.
Worse, if you'd have closed your 100 loans and then it's about half of what you found out you really needed.
Right.
You'd have closed your 100 loans and you went, dude, my life still wasn't great this year. I mean, it was, don't get me wrong. I've met your family, dude. You have an awesome family. So let's put importance where it belongs there. But like, you wouldn't have been able to go on the vacation to New York. You wouldn't have been able to fly your parents here. You'd have been short on buying your daughter a car. You might not have had enough money for college. You might not have been able to save your money. So you closed your 100 loans. You went, dang, I still didn't like nothing. Right. I still feel short funds this year. That's Whereas when you map out exactly how much you need to make, now you have a very specific number. When you hit that number, you're going to go on that vacation. You're going to get that kitchen. You're going to get that car. You're going to pay for the college. You're going to save the money. You're going to buy the investment property. I get choked up when I think about this. You're going to be flying your mom and your dad to visit you in New York, right? And how cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, as you're watching this day, when you set your numbers, if you would have set your numbers, Eddie, to 300 loans for the month, let's just say, hell, you don't have to work that hard. In your case, you need 188. Right. So until you put a very specific number, you've got two likelihoods. Either A, it's too short and you go, dang, I still struggle this year. Or B, you worked way harder than you needed to. You didn't need to close as many as you need. Mm-hmm. And once you get that exact number, it's a whole lot easier to formulate your plan.
Right. Exactly right. So once I figured out what my gross income needed to be before taxes, which is the 500,000, then I took that number and I divided it over the average commission per deal. And I used a conservative number just to make sure that we are, again, using the worst case scenario situation. So when I took that number, divided over my average commission per deal on the low end, it gave me the 188 units.
All right. In your case, and somebody in California got bigger loan amounts, might need more. Somebody in, I'm not going to pick on any state, but where the houses are cheap, might need more, right? So whatever that number is for you, but to come up with a very specific, I need to make, in your case, $500,000. The government's going to get, give or take, 200,000 of it. That's going to leave you with 300. That 300 for you, and everybody's different, but for you, lives your perfect life. So now that you got this 300,000 net or 500,000 gross, I got this 188 loans.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's transition to a plan.
So I kept very good records of my production for the past couple of years, and I used the conversion ratios that I kept to come up with, I guess, a very easy mechanism for me to calculate and reverse engineer these numbers, right?
Okay.
So I came up with that 65% mark, right? So basically what a 65% rule is, 65% of the people that I talk to, meaning referrals, turn into interested, committed borrowers who actually complete the loan application.
Okay.
65% of those who complete the loan applications, they basically get pre-approved. 65% of those who are pre-approved end up producing contracts, right? 65% of those contracts, they actually end up closing and funding, right?
On that particular month.
In that particular month, yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right.
So it's not like the other loans died or they're not working. Some of them do, but majority of them, of the leftover will probably end up following for the following month or whatever, especially if you have new builds or stuff like that. Okay, so that being said, when I took that 188 number and I divided over that 65% rule from every stage, obviously you came up with these numbers that you're looking at right now. So in order for me to close 188 loans, I needed to receive 289 contracts for the year.
Okay.
And in order for me to get the 289 contracts, I had to provide 445 pre-approvals,
okay.
Right? For that to happen, I needed to receive 685 applications. And when I say applications here, we're talking about people filling the 1003 and we're able to pull
the good, the bad, the ugly.
That's right.
On your matrix. And again, if you're getting your referrals from a place where they close more, you need less. And if you get a referrals that close less, you need more.
Right.
You just know your numbers are 65%.
So my number is 65%, and obviously some people might have a higher number than that, and some people might have lower number than that. I tried this with multiple people, Carl, and when I looked at my numbers and their numbers, the 65% seemed to be pretty
a good rule of thumb
on the spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what your numbers are, use the 65% for now.
Okay.
So anyway, in order for me to get the 685 applications, I needed to receive that 1,053 referrals for the year.
So in other words, you reverse engineered yours and you said to get 188 closings, I need 289 contracts. To get 289 contracts, I need 445 pre-approvals. To get 445 pre-approvals, I need 685 loan apps. To get 685 loan apps, I need 1,053 referrals. Very specific numbers here, by the way. And that's what I want everybody to get.
That's exactly right. And
now,
in case, I'm sorry, go ahead.
A lot of people, Eddie, when they're looking at this 1,053 referrals, that can be a daunting task. So I like the way you broke it down further. Let's talk about that.
So once you know the numbers for the whole year, then it's very, very easy. All you need to do is just now divide all these numbers by 12. And that will shrink the number a little bit for you to more manageable. And I like to even break it down even further, and as we will see here in a second. But basically, that broke down to 16 closings a month. Okay. And then, obviously the contracts will be 24, 37 pre-approvals, 57 loan applications, 88 referrals for the month. But that still sounded high, Carl, right? Okay. For the average person, including myself, that sounded a little scary, right? So I ended up dividing it over for a weekly number. So I took these numbers, divided over 4.3, or you can just take the annual numbers divided over 48 weeks, assuming you're going to take 4 weeks off for the year. So it became more manageable. So all I needed to focus on really is 4 closings a week, 6 contracts a week, 9 pre-approvals a week, 14 loan applications a week, and 22 referrals a week. But I even wanted to make it easier for me so that way on a daily basis I know what's expected of me. So I came to the realization, Carl, that without the leads, without the referrals, none of the other stuff will happen, right? So the referrals is the absolute foundation. That's what must happen in order for the rest to follow, right? So I'm a firm believer to focus on the process, and the results are automatic.
Yes. So
what I ended up doing, since referrals are the most important part of this whole operation, so I took the weekly number, divided it over 5, and 4, because I really don't work Fridays anymore. I work Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
And I came up with that 5 referrals a day, right? So every single day, Monday through Thursday, I have to, and I must generate 5 referrals for the day, right? So every morning when I wake up, that is the intention. I already.
So let me tell you what I really like about that. What I really like about this 5 referrals a day thing is some people go, gee, I had a slow year. They had a slow year because they had a slow month. That's not going to happen to you, and hasn't happened to you, Eddie, because once you have it nailed down of I need this much per day, you don't have a slow month, because like on Monday you need 5 referrals. On Tuesday you need 5 referrals. If you don't get 5 on Monday, you don't get 5 on Tuesday. You wake up Wednesday morning and go, okay, I'm behind the 8 ball here a little bit. Right? It happens. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
I have to work even more focused on Wednesday and Thursday to make this happen.
And if I'm way behind, I don't take Friday off. At that point, I'll jump on Friday. Yeah,
no, I get that. I get that. And so you don't have a slow month, because a lot of people, they get to the end of the month, go, gee, it was a slow month. You identify it day by day. How's your day going? You're not, it's like a football game. You're not like playing the game and then unveiling the scoreboard at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you're looking at the game. You're looking at the score each play of the game.
That's right.
And so you come up with these. I need 5 referrals. If you get 5 referrals a day, you're going to get your 188 closings because you've done your matrix and you know your numbers.
That's right. And so, it's easy for you to focus, Carl, all your attention on getting 5 referrals. It's much easier because you know where those 5 are going to be coming from. You're able to put a game plan for those 5.
That's a great point, because a lot of people, they go, well, I'm busy. And I'm going to tell you, busy is the enemy of productivity.
That's right.
Busy is absolute poison for productivity. So in your case, on your day-to-day routine, which we're getting ready to talk about that, your sole focus is this activity going to provide me with at least 1 or more of the 5 referrals I need today.
That's right.
And if spending 3 hours designing your logo, you go, did that get me a referral? Mm-hmm. Then we don't spend 5 hours designing our logo.
That's right.
You follow me?
That's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your routine and how you are getting your 5 referrals a day, so that people that's watching this day can copy what you're doing.
Absolutely. So you just have to, without going into too many details regarding the morning routine, everybody has a different morning routine. I would recommend everybody to pick up a copy of the Miracle Morning book by Hal Elrod and read it. That will give you an idea of what my morning routine. And again, I'm a human being. I make mistakes sometimes, and I don't follow through every single day. But to the most part, that is my routine. Okay, on a daily basis. Now, so let's go to the actual meat and potatoes of what I do on a daily basis. I do not check my emails before 11 a.m. And this was the hardest thing that I ever had to actually do, because I became addicted to my freaking phone and my emails. Yeah. And Richard Smith, like literally on a daily basis, he would have to get on my case. And he would actually test me. He would call me and he would actually send me emails to see if I'm actually checking my emails or answering my phone calls. So 9 to 11 every single morning, Monday through Thursday, nothing happens other than making phone calls. That's my sale time. That's my green time. That's my money making time, right? I do not touch my emails. I do not even open my emails before 11 a.m.
So just briefly, let's talk about that just for a second, because this is a big point. So why not show up at the office at 7 o'clock? Because you can't call people before 9 a.m. Typically, you know, that's kind of the official beginning of the workday where it's okay to call people. Why not come to the office or sit at your kitchen table and check your email at 7 o'clock before you go into the office?
So here's the reason, Carl. A lot of times, well, I don't want to say a lot of times, I say a majority of the time, whenever you check your email first thing in the morning, you lost control over the day. You are no longer the architect of the day. Someone else is designing your day for you. And you're just basically a piece of chess on their board, right? You're no longer the actual player. You're right. So
you're no longer the king, now you're a pawn.
That's exactly right.
Great point.
Especially if you're dealing with fires and bad news and issues and stuff like that first thing in the morning, your day is ruined. Your mental attitude for the day is completely shot. I don't care how strong you are and how disciplined you are. You read bad news in the morning about a file that you're expecting to close or you have issues with or whatever, that would ruin your day. I don't care who you are.
And now you're getting ready to get on the phone from 9 to 11 and make money phone calls. You
Right.
got that bad news in the back of your head.
That's
and
right.
what's likely to happen, I know it used to happen early in my career, and Eddie, I'm assuming yours too, is we'd go into our email and start checking stuff and go, oh, let me take care of this. Let me take care of this. Let me take it. Next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
And you
Right,
go, holy
exactly
cow,
right.
I didn't make my calls yet.
That's exactly right. A better use now for your time, if you want to do something at 7 o'clock in the morning or something like that, is to maybe do some of those morning routines that we're talking about. You know, maybe go to the gym. If I'm not a gym person in the morning, you can pay me $10,000 and I will not do it. So, but again, everybody's different. So if you have something else that you would like to do in the morning, just do that. But do not check your emails before 11.
All right. So you don't check your emails until 11 o'clock. And then, which means from 9 to 11, you're making your money calls.
Right.
All right.
Right. So the money calls, because I think a couple of people asked me this multiple times. So like, what calls do you make? So I break it down by day. So on Mondays, Carl, I do, as you guys can see, number 9, 10, 11, and 12 in that list. So Mondays, I call my Thor's Hammer / post coffee calls. Thor's Hammers are basically realtors who I'm trying to build a relationship with and set up coffee appointments with to go meet and introduce myself. Right. And then post coffee calls are the people that I actually met with already, and I'm just following up with them, making sure the relationship still stays alive. Tuesdays, this is when I call all my active deals in the pipeline, and just basically give a quick update about where the loan process is. Call the buyer's agent and give them an update, and also call the listing agent and give them an update as well. Okay. So this is basically my just ask. And then, so the just ask part of it is, as I'm talking to these people, whether the realtors or the borrowers, I'm just basically asking for referrals at that point.
Yeah. Here's your update.
Here's your update. By the way,
yeah.
So that's when I transition into the referral pitch.
Okay.
Wednesdays, that's when I call all my past database. And database is basically past clients, friends, people that I worked with in the past, anybody that was in my database, from people that I know who are influential, who might be able to refer people to me. Right. Thursdays is my approved looking calls. That's when I call all the people that were already pre-approved, check on them, say hello to them, just see how the process of home search going. And I also send text messages to my active agents, just reminding them, hey, you plan to work or play this weekend? If you plan to work, make sure you send me those people you're going to be showing houses to, so that way we'll get them pre-approved. So that way you're not wasting time.
Not over the weekend.
Right.
Now, today on Thursday.
Because I don't work on the weekends.
That's right. Good for you, brother. So on Monday through Thursday, and we'll talk about the scripts here in a few minutes, but on Monday through Thursday, you're making your outbound money calls, and you do it from 9 to 11. So as I see, and I'm kind of going back up here a little bit, and again, this is very improv that Eddie and I are doing today. You time block your day, stay committed without allowing any distractions, so that from 9 to 11. I mean, look, this stuff here, like number 9, 10, 11, 12, making these, that's not breaking news to anybody, right? Everybody knows to do this stuff. Mm-hmm. They just don't do it, right? How many of you have pre-approved somebody, and then you got so busy pre-approving the next person, you never followed up with the last one, mm-hmm. right? And you pre-approve all these people, and you don't actually close a lot of them. And you might have dozens or hundreds even of people that you pre-approved that you lost track of, and you just didn't keeping track of. You didn't close a loan, somebody else did, because you didn't stay in front of them. And Eddie, that doesn't happen to you, because every Thursday you're making that call. Mm-hmm. And and I see here your focus on two of your activities is meeting with agents and calling them. And, right. And that's really your money activity. What's the Pomodoro technique? What is that?
The Pomodoro technique, that is something I learned actually from Scott Hotspeth. He wrote a brilliant book, and those who are listening who have not read it yet, I highly recommend you picking up a copy from Amazon. It's called Millionaire Loan Officer. Okay, so in the book he talks about this technique where majority of us loan officers, or / salespeople in general, we are very ADD. We're the squirrels, right?
Yeah.
So basically, in order for us to get more done in less time, we just need to put our blinders on and focus for just literally just 20 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
So focus for 20 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. Focus for 20 minutes and then take a 10-minute break, right?
So when you're making your phone calls, you call for 20 minutes, take a 10-minute break, call for 20 minutes, take a 10-minute break, call for
Right.
20 minutes, take a 10-minute break until 11 o'clock, and you're kind of done with that activity for the rest of the day.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because sometimes we do get, this overwhelming feeling of, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it today. So when you just focus on 20 minutes, it's easier for you to control 20 minutes than to control 2 hours. It's the exact same concept why we break down the number into weekly number, because it's easier to control a week than to control a whole year.
Yeah, I like that. And then I noticed on a lot of these things, you talk about your team. Let's just talk about that for a few minutes. So what would you say to a loan officer that's watching this, that's kind of the one-man band kind of thing? How do you help that person?
So I was a one-man band for most of my career, up until May of this year, Carl. Is when I actually started to have a team to help me out with the stuff. So if you're a one-man player, just focus on the time block aspect of it. Focus on your 9 to 11. And once you are able to get to the point where you're consistently doing, north of 5 deals a month consistently, at least for one quarter, you've done more than 5 deals consistently every single month. At that point, you will definitely need to start having the conversation with Carl or Scott or any of the coaches to start bringing on your help. And the first help is definitely going to be a loan partner, someone who's licensed, someone who has a mortgage experience, but just they hate going out there and getting the business. They are great putting the file together. They're great with the guidelines. They're great of getting the loan pre-approved and pushed through the process, but they just suck at going out there and getting the business. You will just need to hire someone like that to basically remove you from that aspect of the business while you're out there generating business to make the phone ring.
And I know this is a little off topic here, but you bring up some good points on that. What do you say to the loan officer says, hey, I understand about the help thing, but everybody only wanted to talk to me? Like, how do you deal? How did you deal with that when?
That was the hardest. That was the hardest part for me, Carl. And I think most loan officers, if not all of them, were control freaks, especially the high D of us, right? The ones who are out there generating the business, the entrepreneurial type of loan officers, because there's loan officers out there who are not really the entrepreneurial type. They're more of like, you get me the business and let me run with it, right? I'm talking about the people who are actually out there generating the business and getting the business in. That was the hardest part for me, because that meant that I would be giving up control, and I'm a control freak by nature, right? So what I had to do, though, is it was a mindset shift. And you and Richard Smith just kept putting it in my head, and I remember the days when you would tell me, hey, listen, would you rather have a whole grape or a half a watermelon? And you kept repeating it in my mind until I start to really understand what you were trying to tell me. So yes, in the very beginning, it's going to be very, very difficult. Yes, you are going to be losing a couple of relationships who are very close-minded, who are not willing to adapt to the change and see the big picture. Yes, you are going to be, losing a couple of those relationships. That's given. But I can tell you this: I went from having 6 realtor relationships, Carl, to right now I have about 27.
So what I'm hearing you say is you might have lost 1 or 2, but you lost that 1 to get another 10.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And one thing I always keep in mind: look, all the big real estate agents, all of them, 100% have a team, and they understand the team approach and look at you that way. And again, that's a whole nother class, and we can, maybe we can do another one of those here in the future. So in essence, what you found, I need to close 188 loans. I need 5 referrals a day. How I'm going to make that happen? Number 1, I start my morning right, and that's my plan for that. Number 2, I'm making my calls to my agents from 9 to 11. Again, we'll talk about the scripts here in just a second. Number 3, you time block your day and you stay committed that you make that 9 to 11 call no matter what. No matter if the house is on fire, so to speak, a closing looks like it might be late, so to speak, you know that these calls are more important than any one particular loan, any one particular relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So this is working on the next 50 closings, not the next one closing.
That's right.
You focus on your activity of meeting with the agents and calling them. You stay away from the time stealing activities like putting out the fires. You let your team handle that. You take breaks during every 20 minutes. You take a 10-minute break to refresh your mind. You ensure that your team is asking for more business. You do your handwritten notes. You make your realtor calls on Monday, your update calls asking for business on Tuesday, your database calls on Wednesday, your pre-approved looking calls on Thursday. Friday, you evaluate what's been going on. You teach classes to agents, and you hand out 5 business cards every day to people you come in contact with. And when you do, for you personally, when you do this activity, that's the activity that gives you your 5 referrals a day.
That's right.
And as long as you do this activity, you've proven it, you get your 5 referrals. If you don't do this activity, like here's the thing. If you woke up one morning, Eddie, and said, you know what, screw all this, I'm going to spend all my day in my email, that's okay to do that. It's okay not to make those calls on that day, but you would need to go back up to this list right up here and cross something off. Like, I choose not to make my calls today, and which is okay, but I need to strike off buying my daughter her car. I need to strike off taking this vacation. I need to strike off saving this money. Mm-hmm. And dude, I know you, man. You don't own a black marker to mark things off. You're going to be adding things to this. You're going to be adding numbers to this stuff.
Yep.
And so that's the thing that if we decide to go work on the logo instead of working on getting that next referral, that's okay to do. You just need to start striking stuff off your list.
That's right. And Carl, I learned something from you and Richard that was very profound. There's a lot of freaking people out there who their strength are my weakness. That I would just pay a fraction of a few bucks to have them do the things that. So, for example, talking about logos or talking about designing a flyer or some of that stuff, right? That I used to do myself. It would probably take me a whole day to figure this out, where I could have paid, on, let's say, Fiverr website, somebody $5, and they would do it for me. And I didn't waste my day. And I went and I got a couple of more deals out of it.
You're working on your 5 referrals.
That's right.
Every single day. So, dude, I love the way that you've simplified what some people make a very complicated situation. Very simple plan that you put here together. And dude, I know you've only been in the business for 2 years. I have no doubt that you're going to hit your numbers. I think you're going to, we were on the phone a few minutes before we started this class here today. I think you've undershot your numbers. Dude, you do this activity and you stay focused on doing this stuff with the team that you've associated yourself with. Dude, this is like a sure thing. Like, this isn't a gamble. This for you. It's my firm belief. This is a sure thing. So let's transition to a quick recap and helping you get with your plan as you're watching this today. Number one, as you can see with Eddie, man, you just got to have this burning desire, right? You absolutely positively have to have this burning desire. Number two, overcome self-doubt. I'm sure Eddie will tell you that. Did self-doubt enter into his mind when he was doing this stuff? Of course, lofty number for somebody that's only 2 years in the business. Pushing his comfort zone of talking with agents, thinking, well, gee, what if they ask me a question I don't know? Pushing through those comfort zones, right? Set a goal with a real plan, right? Setting a goal with a real plan, and then getting help, right? That's the name of the game. So make the shift in your business, and it's my firm belief that your business will double or even more. Now, here's how it changed my business life. I have a mortgage partner who does everything for me so that I can do what I do best, which is market and teach. And I was just recently named Marketer of the Year, even outside of our industry, applying these principles. And I've done more in a month than what most people do in a year, all with the help of my team. And I get to work with who I want to, where I want, how I want, and when I want, and I get to travel, and I travel a lot. In 2017, my business partner, Scotty, and I got paid on between 306 and 427 loans each and every month. This is besides our coaching business, by the way. And I've been asked to speak and share what I do with tens of thousands of business leaders throughout the country. And I took 5 major vacations and a few minor ones, all in 2017. How I did it? Just like what we've been talking about with Eddie. I set up goals, and then I mapped out a plan with Scotty, Cammie, and Ralph, my business partners. And then once every 2 weeks, we meet by video conference for about 45 minutes and evaluate our progress and make tweaks when necessary. You can take that same action too. What would happen to you if you made that same strategic and tactical shifts? Want to find out? Here's an offer that you can't refuse. I would like you to consider forming an alliance with me. Together, we will work on your business over 12 months. And the sole focus of our work is to grow your profits by 200% at a minimum, and do so sustainably while working 32 work hours per week, right? We don't want you to be working all the time. That's totally uncool. And we'll work together individually and as a group. We'll meet in person for 2 days, 3 times a year. And you're going to have my cell phone number along with my demand for you to call me if and when you need help. And this isn't your typical mastermind where we get together every few months and just kind of talk. We analyze your progress, give you a custom plan of attack, and personally help you implement. And when we meet live, we do so as a group, and we work to create assets that make you money. What does it cost? Well, ultimately, it doesn't cost anything, right? It costs nothing, because qualified loan officers that work with me personally and our team always get more than what they pay. And those results, by the way, are typical. So how do you join? We'll schedule a call with you where we'll fill each other out. And during this call, one of 3 things will happen. So number 1, regardless of whether you join, you'll receive a step-by-step blueprint that will help you. A step-by-step, the exact scripts that Eddie uses, we'll go over those exact scripts and more. Number 2, you may decide that you would like our help implementing what we've laid out for you, in which case we'll discuss how that works. And if you think the call was a complete waste of your time and you're the one that decides this, not us, we'll pay you $100 just for spending the time with us on the call. So number 1, you're going to get the plan, step-by-step blueprint of exactly what to do, and you're completely allowed to take that plan and do it alone by yourself. Number 2, you're going to ask us, gee, I'd like you to help me with that plan, Carl. Or number 3, Carl, this total waste of our time, and on which I'll pay you $100. I'll send you $100 just for spending the time on the call. Now, if we decide that we're a good match for each other, we'll start by working on your step-by-step plan right away. And there's no obligation to stay. And my promise to you is that if you don't get a positive return on investment from my mentoring of myself and my team, I'll personally work for you for free until you do. So that's my no weasel clause guarantee. So what I want you to do now is go to loanofficerstrategycall.com, loanofficerstrategycall.com. And when you go there, you're going to go, it's going to ask you a couple questions so that it'll help either myself or Scott or Ralph. We're going to be doing the strategy calls with you. It'll help us prepare for your call. And so this is all private information that you're sending over. And we're just going to ask a little bit about where you are so we know best on how to help you get to where you want to go. And then once you answer those couple questions on there to help us prepare for the call so you get a better use and better results from your time, then it'll take you to a calendar and you just pick a time that's fits for you. And then either myself or Scotty or Ralph are going to get on the call with you and map you through that step-by-step plan, including the scripts that we just talked about with Eddie on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. These are the same scripts that Eddie has applied in his business to get 110% increase on year 2 in his business. Remarkable results. Now, before we go here today, I would like to talk about just a few more success principles. All right. So Principle number one, boy, I cannot overemphasize this. Model what works, right? If somebody's got something that's already working, why waste time trying new things? Find somebody that's already successful and just copy them, right? Number two, take the simplest path. And I've heard this called like the KISS principle, which is to take the simplest path and focus on where you're efficient. And I just wanted to let you know I believe in you. And whether we work together or you do this on your own, remember the simplest path is the best one so that you can stay on course. And then finally, commit to learn. So you need to take this seriously, right? So commit to learning everything that you can about being a successful loan officer, a successful branch manager. And don't let your own self-doubt get in the way. And I can't say enough about this, that it's not only learning, but implementing. So knowledge without action, I mean, it's nothing more than just a smart brain, right? So look, I know there's a lot of problems with like loan officers not having enough clients and ultimately not having the life or the business of their dreams. And if you stay in the position you're in right now and don't invest in yourself and don't put forth the effort to make it happen, then it'll just get even worse. It doesn't have to be that way, though. So it's my firm belief that together we can get you to where you want to be. And I believe in you. You deserve to be successful. And it's my firm belief that together we can make that happen. So just go to loanofficerstrategycall.com and we'll schedule that call and go over that. Eddie, I was going to go over some Q&As at this point, but I'm looking at the clock. I told everybody we're going to keep this to a certain time a certain time, and I see we're kind of coming up on that time here. And I just want to let you know that we'll answer every question that you have when you schedule your strategy call. You'll have no question that we won't find the answer to. And if we don't have the answer right then on the call, we'll personally go find that answer and then get back with you on it. But a question I always like to ask on this, Eddie, is, dude, if you could go back and talk to yourself, let's say even a year ago, if you could go back in time and talk to a year ago Eddie, like picture you're on this call and you're listening to you from, you know, your year ago self, dude, what would you tell yourself? What's the best piece of advice you could give yourself?
I thought about this often, Carl. I would have definitely told myself, do not put off the coaching aspect of it. Do not delay it. That's the first thing that I would tell myself, because I kept delaying it. I kept, telling myself, oh, I'll get there, or I'll hire the coach, or I'll basically invest in coaching whenever I hit XYZ number, right? Mm-hmm. Well, it was an absolute reverse mindset. It was supposed to be the other way around. It's like, trying to focus on the cart before the horse, right? So that's the first thing that I would tell myself. And the second thing, which obviously I would have learned early enough had I had a coach basically guiding me to the right direction, I would not have wasted my time and money going after those internet leads or co-branding myself with those realtors who only want to play with you if you pay to play type of realtors, who basically were, I went and I spent a lot of time and money and wasted both of them chasing those realtors and chasing those leads that resulted to nothing at all. Places like Boomtown, Zillow, and the usual ones that everybody's familiar with. So that's basically the one thing that I'll tell myself for sure.
All right, cool. So Eddie, as you just finished this year and showing us this plan, which by the way, your plan for this year, dude, it's exact same plan you did last year, where you had 110% increase month over month. Mm-hmm. What did you find the biggest challenge? The only difference you made in your plan, you've just increased the numbers, right? It's the same plan. You just increased the numbers.
Right.
What did you find as you did this for the last year? What did you find is the most challenging part of putting this plan? Like once you had the plan together, what was the most difficult part of implementing that plan? And what part came? So two questions. Number one, what was hard or the biggest obstacle? And number two, what was a lot easier than you thought it would be?
The hardest was my self-talk. my self-doubt, the little man on my shoulder, right? Who would basically keep telling me and throwing me off my path, right? Like whenever I would basically set a goal or make a plan to go meet with XY number of realtors, for example, and my little man would basically jump in my way and say, "Who do you think you are? Those people will not even look at you. They will not even talk to you. You're not big enough for them." You know, the typical self-talk, negative self-talk, right? Now, the easiest aspect that I thought would be harder for sure was actually finding realtors being interested to sit down and meet with me. And that was absolutely something that I did not expect. I thought it was going to be more of like them being snobby and having this attitude. Well, and don't get me wrong, there were a couple who were like that, but I found that majority of the people were actually very interested to know me.
And it's just pleasant. So that's very interesting. So, and by the way, these aren't preempted questions that I'm asking you. There's stuff that's just coming off the top of my head as we're doing this. So the thing that you found the hardest was your self-talk of, hey, these referral partners aren't going to want to meet with me. They're not going to want to send me business. Who am I? And then the easiest part is you found out using the right scripts, using the right approaches, it was actually a whole lot easier than you thought it was going to be.
That's right.
That's very interesting. And again, we'll go over all those scripts and any questions you have about that on your strategy call.
One of the nuggets that you shared with me, Carl, that I thought it was absolutely transformational for me was the 25% rule. And I'm pretty sure you will talk about it in more details with people. But, basically in a nutshell, 25% of the people are going to love you no matter what. 25% of the people are going to dislike you no matter what. And there are 50% of them are basically on the fence, figuring out whether to like you or not. And you asked me just to go find my 25% who love me no matter what. And that was basically the secret to it.
Dude, that's a great point. Well, brother, I really appreciate you being here today. Dude, you're just an awesome guy. I really believe you're just going to have an absolute epic year. I really do. And dude, it's a true honor to be a part of your journey of epicness that you're on here. And I just want to, go on record of thanking Richard Smith for helping us with this, make it happen for you. And again, I say this with all complete transparency and very gratitude that neither one of us got here by ourselves today, Eddie. People helped us. And I just want to reach out to my partners that helped me with our own production in our mortgage business and with our coaching business. My brother, Scott, Ralph, and Tammy, and I'm not going to list off everybody, but I get it. I'm the pretty face to get on here on camera here. But I just want to make it real clear that hanging out with this great group of people, the same people that myself included, that you'll talk to on your strategy calls. This is the same team that I plugged into that helped me achieve the numbers that we did. And I pinch myself every day. It's just incredible.
Well,
and, Eddie, I'm looking forward to seeing you the day, man. And I'm convinced it's going to happen where your numbers are going to surpass me, because every great teacher wants their students to do even better than they did. And I'm a firm believer, man, that I'm hearing footsteps behind me a little bit, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, brother. And I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man, and I feel that the honor is absolutely mine. And people like yourself, Scott, Tammy, Ralph, Irene, and Richard, you guys absolutely have been a blessing in my life and an answer to my prayers for those times when I felt completely overwhelmed and ready to throw the towel and just basically scratch the mortgage business completely out of my head and just go do something else. You guys appeared in my life when I needed you the most, and the rest was history. And I really appreciate everything you've done.
Well, brother, I really appreciate it, Dan. So we're going to have a love fest here thing going on. But anyway, so, hey, guys, as you're watching this on the call, schedule your strategy call. Like Eddie said, little guy on your shoulder might say, hey, don't do that. And, man, just push disbelief to the side. Take a simple action. Love to talk to you on the phone and map out your plan. and looking forward to it and looking forward to your results. So again, loanofficerstrategycall.com. Obviously, we're actually real human beings that's on these calls, so it's very limited amount of calls that we can do, obviously, because we're actually on the phone. And by the way, when you do these calls, they're about, I recommend mapping out like 60 minutes on your calendar. Like once you pick that time, this is not like a 5-minute phone call. We're actually mapping out a plan. We're going to be going over the scripts. This is not a teaser thing. Like you're going to be going over word for word, exactly step by step, what to do, designed upon what you're doing and where you're at, and have about 60 minutes to the side. Be sure to be in front of a computer. We might be showing you some stuff on the screens. Have pencil and paper in hand to take notes, and really looking forward to it. So on behalf of Eddie Fooshang out of Austin, Texas, and myself, Carl White, here at the Mortgage Marketing Animals headquarters, thanks so much for spending the time. Really looking forward to talking to you on your strategy call, and looking for you to have an absolute epic rest of the year, because you will have a plan. So there can be two groups of people on today's call: those that have a plan and those that are just have a lofty goal with no plan in place. Which line do you want to be in? I look forward to seeing you in that line. So my name is Carl White, and I'll see you on the web, and we'll talk to you on the strategy call. Bye-bye.